Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let's get this thing started. I didn't really think about this, dude. I really didn't. Had never crossed my mind until after the opens were over. I've made a couple comments on it on Castledown's live show. I've seen people misquote me in some other places on YouTube and in some social media stuff. It's not that it's way off, but it's just a little bit off. I never used LiveScope to catch a bass that I weighed in the Central Opens, which is how I qualified through the Elite Series this year. Never used it. Not that it wasn't on, not that it wasn't on my boat. It had nothing to do with any fish that I weighed in that put me in first place in the points of the Central Division. So we're going to shoot down the narrative of you cannot compete without LiveScope, because I just did it with 225 guys in the Opens, finished in the points in the Central Division when we started this year. So let's go over that. We'll cut some stuff in and we'll talk about it. All right, so what I'm talking about, guys, is one, where I was kind of misquoted, where I talked about that. I saw guys put some comments on there and said, hey, Hallman said that he fished all the Opens this year and never caught a fish on LiveScope. That's not what I said. It's not what I said. I fished all 9 Opens, okay? The 9 of them, 3 different divisions. I qualified through one division. The Central Division that I qualified through, I won the points in. In that division alone, I did not catch a bass on LiveScope. Mississippi, on the lake down there, the Red River, Louisiana, or Sam Rayburn. Rayburn, I know what you guys are going to say. Well, you used it for some grass lines or something like that. Definitely didn't use it at the Red River. And everything that I was fishing in Mississippi, I could see with my eyes. Rayburn, I'm sure that there was some grass edges that I saw with it, but I am telling you without a doubt that every bass that I caught at Rayburn, I would have caught without LiveScope, even though it was turned on. I would have seen that grass on my 2D, moved back off of it, whatever, with 2D old school fishing. Did not use it. Now, that event was won with LiveScope. Sam Rayburn was. I don't know about the other 2 exactly. Well, Keith Poche won the Red River. Definitely, he doesn't even have LiveScope on his boat. Well, maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. That's a Keith question. But the style of fishing in which he was doing in a backwater, catching fish, jigging, spinnerbait, and that type of stuff, definitely not needed for LiveScope. And so my point being is that this year in 2022 on the Opens, I was able to compete in that division without using forward-facing sonar. So it does exist. Some of the things that I want to talk about that kind of led me to this, after the event at Rayburn was over, I was visiting with a couple of friends of mine, and we were talking about different things and scenarios that had gone on. I actually found, if you guys have gone back or you remember the video of Rayburn, I found on day 2 of the tournament, right? So there's 225 boats in this field. And this is the second day of the tournament. So after 4 or 5 days of practice, however long, because there's no off limits, the guys have been there. And then after 2 days of tournament fishing, it was after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I mean, it's late in the day before I find that group of fish on that grass line that I found. I didn't know they were there in practice. I didn't see them. I didn't find them. I found some fish close to that area, which is what put me there on tournament day. But I had not caught those fish. Didn't know that they were there. And I actually could kind of see that grass with my eyes, because it was kind of like little sand spots and some grass and little sand and little grass. And it's kind of what made it different. And that's really what my little pattern was in the grass that I was getting bit on. And when I rolled through there, I'm looking for it with my sunglasses, and I kind of see it, which makes me kind of slow down. When I mean by slow down, I'm slowing my boat positioning down, and I catch one, which was that big one. And I catch a really nice fish for me on a Rayburn, a 4-pounder. Not big for the guys that were catching 20-pound bags, but big for me. And it kind of really made me slow down, and that's what made me kind of click and go, hey, there's a group of fish here, because it looked right. I just gotten the confirmation, but it was nothing from LiveScope. And as you guys know, I am sponsored by Garmin. I rep Garmin. I love my Garmins. I love my Garmin LiveScope. I'm just throwing out there that there are other ways to compete, because I'm not a 20-year-old that's out there fishing with nothing but LiveScope. Not that I think all 20-year-olds are only fishing with LiveScope. I'm just saying that is out there, right? Like, we see it on the internet, it's being fed. There's more truth to this than that. there's still a lot of fish to be caught without LiveScope. What I'm telling you happened to me at Rayburn is a scenario where the fact that I found those fish at 2 o'clock in the afternoon happened because LiveScope exists. Now, I'm not saying that I caught my fish on LiveScope. I caught them because the majority of the field was off using LiveScope out in the middle of the lake, brush piles, chasing open water fish, balls of shad, whatever, however they're doing it, right? What I'm saying is that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on day 2 of a giant event, I found fish in the back of a big grass flat that should have been, historically, years past, quite a few boats back there. I'm back there by myself at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What I'm saying is that those fish would have been found, caught, plucked up, picked up by someone else before I ever made it there on day 2 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And when that happened, that's what made me realize, hey, this is kind of a benefit of LiveScope as well, right? Because it does exist. It's pulled all of this competition that would normally be beating the bank and has pulled them out offshore. And there's not a doubt in my mind that that is a fact for that one scenario, right? Now, wasn't the winning fish, I finished 15th, 14th, 16th, something like that, right? Not a top 10 finish, but a really solid finish for a 225 boat field and a strong enough finish to get me into the Elite Series on my 3rd event of the Opens. So it was a big deal. Hope we were able to find some of those videos and kind of tie them back in here to where you guys can see what I'm talking about. But especially that one there at Rayburn. I didn't really realize that all this had really gone down this way until Todd and I got to talking. And like I said, we were talking about different scenarios, and I was like, hey, you know, this is what really got me on it, was the fact that those fish wouldn't have been there. Like, I know they wouldn't have, from years of fishing, right? I mean, guys, my first year on the Elite Series was 2006. That was like, I mean, we're getting close to that. It was 20 years ago, right? I mean, I was young and stuff, but that was like 20 dang years ago almost. I mean, we're going into 2023, so we're 17 years ago, long time ago. That would not have happened back then. Like, wouldn't have. There would have been more guys and more pressure on the bank, and those fish would have been sucked up. Didn't even have to be on tournament day. Could have sucked them up in practice or whenever. Guys just going through an area and catching a couple of fish, and you keep moving. You do that times 10 boats, and they pluck more fish. But now we're in a scenario where it's pretty tough on the bank. Guys going offshore, leaves the bank alone. It's just that much less pressure. So something to think about in this wild and crazy era of YouTube and complaining about LiveScope, that there are some benefits and some bonuses. Hopefully some of these ideas help you guys figure out how they might be able to help you. This is just one of the beginning of my first videos that I want to start working on for you guys this winter and the off season as I prepare and get ready for the 2023 Bassmaster Elite season. Until next time, don't forget, guys, bump that like, hit that subscribe, and I am out of here.